everyone, and welcome to this week's Astrology of the Week YouTube video. We're looking at the dates from June 10th through, I believe it is the 18th, 17th. So I always do a little bit of overlap. So my name is Dorothy Taylor. I am the astrologer for Soul of Chiron. And I look forward to this week because one of the great things about being an astrologer and being able to look at this stuff ahead of time is knowing what is going to take place. And so this week we have a number of interesting alignments, some approaching, some starting to separate, and some in agreement and some in discord. And so let's start talking about those. So I cast this chart for June 10th, 2022 at 12 p.m. And at this point in the day, the moon is in Libra here and is making a square aspect to Pluto. And is just separating from a trine aspect to Saturn and a quincunx to Neptune. So the moon is moving pretty fast through here. The sun is in Gemini at 19 degrees here. And so by tomorrow morning, the moon will be in Scorpio. And it will spend a day or so there, about 2.5 days in Scorpio, opposite all of this interesting stuff up here in Taurus. And then it'll move on into Sagittarius, getting ready for the full moon on June 14th. But before then, one of the really interesting aspects right now, as we speak, is this trine of Mercury here in Taurus and Pluto down here in Capricorn. And as you all know, the January 6th hearings start tonight, and I would say this is almost a hats off, or here it comes kind of expectation from Mercury to Pluto here. A lot of astrologers are going to be talking about this setup in our own lives. What this means is that we need to look deeper, think deeper, look at behind our motivations at choices that we've made, and also look at what we want to choose going forward. Pluto is a powerful planet, and it's a deep planet, and it's all about change and transformation and understanding the underlying motivations. It can be about secrets, and it's also about power and control. And so with Mercury in Taurus, who's looking for safety and security, stability, doesn't like things to change, and Pluto going through all of these things that he's been going through in Capricorn with all of the massive changes we've experienced over the last, since Pluto came into Capricorn in 2008. Now's a pivotal time. One of the other things a lot of astrologers are going to be talking about is that this is the Pluto return. And I'm thinking about doing a separate video just on what's going on with the Pluto return and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, give me a little shout out down there in the comments that you would like to see that. We do have a lot of alignments taking place now that are connected to both the January 6th, 2021 incident and the U.S. Sibley chart. So there would be a lot to talk about there. So this square, though, is both in earth signs, and so both signs want tangible outcomes. They want things that they can see, touch, and feel. Mercury has just been through this retrograde, which took it back into Taurus. And so he's going back to to take a second look at some things that he thought were important and that needed to be looked at again. So again, in your own lives, what are you reviewing still? And this is the third time that Mercury is at trine to Pluto here in this position. So this subject has come up before. It's not like it's new, but this time you know something that you didn't know the first time, or a year ago when Mercury was doing this same thing. So pay attention to your thoughts, and also take a look a little bit deeper at what your motivations might be going forward with the newfound information that you have. And Pluto calls for the highest, most ethical, responsible behavior. And so if we've been choosing to do something other than that, Mercury is going for a third time and saying, is that really what you want to do? Is that the way you want to handle this? And so, look at your underlying motivations and really decide if that's the way you want to handle whatever is coming up in your life for you. So this will last a little while. It's going to take... Mercury doesn't go into Gemini until the 13th, just before the new moon, the full moon. And Mercury doesn't cover any new ground until the 18th. So we have a while of going through this process for the third and final time in our lives to take a look at what we feel deep inside really needs to be done and how things need to be handled. Mercury in Taurus is really looking for some sort of comfort level information, and he's probably gotten that. There's probably a sense of security at least as far as what you think you know now, or going forward. And so we're getting more comfortable with looking at whatever the topic is in more depth. It may have felt overwhelming. Now the lack of information doesn't have as much control over us as it did before. Not only should you look at your own motivations for choosing certain things or believing certain things, but you should also look at other people's motivations for believing or doing certain things. People tend to show how they are motivated by the things they say and the things they do. Where words can be misinterpreted, actions cannot. If someone does something that is an actual action they took based on their own inner thinking, their own motivations. So think about the actions you're taking, think about the things you're doing, because if you'll remember, we still have Mars over here in Aries, and Mars is getting ready to have a conjunction with Chiron, which is great. Let me get my dates up here. On the 11th, Uranus, so the 10th, and all week really, Mercury will have this intense trine with Pluto, the square with Saturn, and then on the 11th, Uranus is going to conjunct, or Venus is going to conjunct Uranus. That is, expect the unexpected. We could have a lot of sudden changes in our relationships, and surprising information could come out, could seem like out of the blue. Venus is comfortable in Taurus, and Venus is about balance and harmony. So Venus is coming in and saying, there's to be the voice of reason in all of this kind of change and transformation that we're going through. But there is this chance, this element of surprise. Maybe it's a new awareness, maybe it's a challenge because remember, Uranus and Mercury are both in Taurus. Maybe it's a challenge to your beliefs. Maybe it's a challenge to what you thought made you safe and secure. It is not involved in the trine with Pluto. However, it is involved in other aspects in the chart. And so when we look at these things and start thinking about Venus is a feminine energy. Mars is a masculine energy. There's meaning that what give and take kind of energy. And Mercury is kind of neutral. So Mercury is just interested in information. It's just interested in gaining and giving information and logical decision making. Uranus, though, is the planet that brings us sudden insights or inspirations or things that seem to not come from our own mind but be somewhere else out there. And with Venus coming into a conjunction with Uranus, that seems plausible that we would have sudden insights into the stability and the safety and the security of our own experience. So Uranus is kind of going to give us a few surprises, I think, when it comes to how we think of our relationships and what that really means to be in relationship with someone, and what in those relationships, what is the value, what is the benefit of being in those relationships. And we may find that there are some surprising benefits. We may be surprised that what we thought was a benefit wasn't a benefit as well. So expect some surprises there. Jupiter is in in Aries here. And it is not really involved in a lot of the alignments that are going on the 10th, but as we go into the week, you'll start seeing some things that and over the next few weeks where Jupiter gets involved, and of course Mars is going to come up on that conjunction with Chiron, and that is on the 15th, the day after the full moon. So the full moon, let me bring that up on this chart. The full moon is going to be from Sagittarius and to Gemini, or Gemini to Sagittarius, across that fulcrum. And that'll be the same day on the just after Mercury moves into Gemini, the previous day on the 13th. Now Mercury is still not covering new ground, but he is at least in Gemini again, and so you get this sense that we finally are able to move forward. This is the day before Mars conjuncts Chiron in Aries. Mars is really comfortable in Aries. Mars loves nothing better than to be able to express his own will, his own vitality, his own energy. And in Aries, he can do that. And with Chiron there too, though, there's this element of a healing, a need to heal. And so, Mars is bringing us that ability to, sorry, I was looking back at my dog, my big black dog is walking around the room. Mars is bringing us that ability to check in with ourselves and say, hey, is this really what I want? Is this, my personal take on things? Is that how I want to express who I am, or my will? And Chiron is offering us the opportunity to look again deep at what we want for ourselves. And we get sidetracked all the time. Our job, our kids, our husband, our wife, our parents, our grandchildren, we get sidetracked all the time, and we keep putting our own desires, our own interests on the back burner for one reason or another. It doesn't really matter why, but it tends to happen. And so Mars is saying, you need to push this little agenda that you have. You need to pay attention to this desire. It means something. And it might have something to do with expanding to the point of you feel healed when you actually do move on this desire or move on this type of energy that you want to express. So it can make us feel more powerful, more genuine, more free to be ourselves, more autonomous to be able to make our own choices. And that's what Aries is all about, is about that autonomy, that ability to express yourself as an individual in your own right without needing someone else's permission, or to put yourself first sometimes. And with Aries, and Mars and Chiron, it's a, put yourself first. If it's the healing that you need to do, if you need to do something to heal your own inner psyche, to help you to feel more available to address your own desires, then this is the time to do it. Chiron is asking you to help heal this wound, which means let's pay attention to where it is you have suppressed your will, or where others have suppressed your will. What is it you want to do? So think about that deeply too, because there is a connection between the ego will of Mars and the soulful will of Pluto. And Mars is going to end up at a square to Pluto here. And so these changes and transformations that we're going through, squares are energy that's discord. It's not harmonizing well. And so this idea of putting yourself first will come up later in the month when the sun, or when Mars actually, I guess the 1st of July maybe, when Mars actually is at a square to Pluto here. So keep an eye out for that. Venus has already passed Uranus, so the surprise has already taken place. and that could be a tie-in too. So Venus we get this surprise with the Venus-Uranus conjunction, and then Mars comes in and goes, but how do you feel about that? How do you want to handle that? What do you want to do? And where Venus is kind of balanced and harmony, Mars is me, and it's good that you have that positive harmonizing influence of Venus when this inspiration change or whatever happens with Uranus and Venus happens. And it could be around your relationships, it could be around your personal resources, it could be around something that makes you feel safe and secure, like the land you own, the house you own, your personal resources. Now that Mercury is in Gemini and starting to move forward, it's going to feel better. We are not in the clear yet. There's still new information coming. And this full moon, I keep saying new moon, is right here across Sagittarius and Gemini. And so that full moon in Sagittarius is telling us that we are in a moment of maximum emotional response. And Sagittarius is kind of emotive. They're big. They're opinionated, they're dogmatic, they're big. And so you can expect when we have this full moon, people are going to be very emotive, very dogmatic, very I believe this kind of thing, very worldview, their worldview, nobody else's worldview is going to enter into it. So they're emotional about what they believe, if that makes sense, and what they know to be true. But most of what we know to be true isn't true. So I suggest instead you take this time period over Monday, Tuesday, really actually starting now, just to be curious. Just be curious about what it is you do learn. Look at the deeper motivations behind why someone may be telling this story or that. Look at what are people going to get from what you provide, your emotions. How is it going to help others to process theirs? And let go of a few of the dogmatic beliefs that no longer work, that you just can't force yourself into believing anymore, deny the truth of, that they're passe, they're gone, that doesn't exist. This particular full moon is making several alignments to other planets. It's kind of a loose quincunx semi-sextile to Pluto, but the moon is at a approaching sextile to Saturn, and the sun is at an approaching trine to Saturn. And so each of these planets are going to both touch on other planets. And so the sun is going to put a focus in one area, and the moon is going to reflect that, or be hidden by that reflection, or light. They are both at a square to Neptune, which is great because, Neptune is all about illusion, delusion, denial, things that would keep us from seeing things clearly. And this full moon is saying, oh no, when we've got this discordant energy both pointing at Neptune, it's going to burn off some of that. We are forced to use a little bit more creative energy and look at what is behind that Neptune veil, behind that illusion. And so, they're coming up on that approaching, and it'll be before that night is done, before the 14th is over. So, the full moon on the 14th, the sun and the moon trine, sun trine and the moon sextile Saturn, and both the sun and the moon are square Neptune. So Saturn's reality, Neptune is illusion. Illusion, reality. Pick your poison. It's an opportunity for us to actually take what comes out from this Mercury retrograde and this Pluto long trine and look at the cold hard facts of it. No Pollyanna attitude is going to change it. No denial of what the reality is going to make it any different. You can't sugarcoat this. It is what it is. And what Neptune is doing is not working. That's the reason this square has come up from both the sun and the moon. Neptune's ideal of what it would like, especially in Pisces, where everybody should just get along and there should just be peace and love in the whole wide world. Everybody, all we need is love. The reality is saying there's more to it than that right now. Now, I say that, but I'm a Pisces, and I really do believe all we need is love. There's a lot of things that wouldn't happen in the world if people actually expressed and showed their deeper motivation of love to other people they didn't know, people not like them, people like them, because really, we only get upset with people that are like us. This Pollyanna attitude of all we need is love, sometimes That's good. Sometimes not so much, like when you need to write checks for the bills and those types of things. So just give yourself an opportunity to really look at what you may be in denial of, or to look through past the veil of a Pollyanna attitude and say, hey, okay, what's really going on here? How can I make this, how can I live in a better reality? Rather than ignoring reality, how can I make my reality even better? So Saturn wants us to build structures. Saturn wants us to create foundations. And in Aquarius, it can do that. It's this social networking sign. And Saturn just turned retrograde last week in Aquarius. And so Saturn is saying, no, we need to work on our social skills. We need to work on society as a whole. We need to build a better foundation for going forward. So there may be some restrictions. There may be some harshness involved in social groups, society, that kind of thing. But also, we're going to be on edge again. We're going to be on edge, wondering when in the world whoever we talk to we're going to hit a brick wall in conversations that we have. Just because of all of the Senate hearing and all this stuff that's coming up. You've got to be able to, everybody thinks they're an authority. Everybody's not an authority. Most people are not an authority. All they know is what they believe. And so, Saturn is saying, okay, we've got to look at these social norms and see what that says about us going forward. What will work and what will not work. So, okay, and so we're going to move it forward a day or so. And there you go. On the 15th, we've got the conjunction of Mars and Chiron. That's on a Wednesday. It is, and with this being at, well, actually, we'll do the exact conjunction. Let's see what time it is of the day. So Mars conjunct Chiron. I have to ask the system the right question to get the right chart. That is happening at 10:11 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States. And that's going to put us in this defensive mode for defending our ideals, because in this chart, just not looking at anyone's chart in particular, but in this transit chart, this is up in the 9th house. And the 9th house is about world beliefs, our world views, our belief systems, our ideologies, the things we believe in. And with Mars there and Chiron there, there's an opportunity to heal our ideals and our world beliefs in some way. That usually means, though, that we have to have those discussions. We have to be open to discussing what our beliefs are. We're also being asked to take action on those beliefs. And so, in Aries, that means doing something. Mars means doing something. But there's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. And it would be nice if we took that ability, that need to take action, and turned it into being assertive in a positive way instead of aggressive. That usually ends up not caring about how other people feel. Remember, I'm a Pisces. Everybody should just get along. Do not push your beliefs on other people. I have my own beliefs. This is not the forum for me to discuss those. So I tend to hold those close to my chest, although I did say I'm probably going to do a video on how the astrology is reading for these hearings. Again, that is the astrology. It's not my opinion. So this chart has a lot going on out here in the public area of the chart. It still has Pluto over here in the day-to-day house. And we have some intense moments coming up over the next 2 to 3 weeks, probably right on until, well, for several months, I would say. We have another eclipse coming up in October, and so we're in between that eclipse and this eclipse. October and November, we have a second set of eclipses. And so this is kind of happening right at the beginning of the early parts of the eclipse time in between. And so there'll be more to come out between now and that eclipse in October. So don't expect all of the answers to come to you right away. Mercury will go retrograde again. There's other planets are going to slow down and go retrograde. But I'm happy to say that it's going to be, I want you guys to actually pay attention to this Mercury trine to Pluto, the separating alignments with Saturn and Neptune, and the Venus-Uranus conjunction, and also the Mars-Chiron conjunction, and especially the full moon, because this, you will be able to see not only in your own lives how this astrology is affecting you, but also on the world stage right now. We are getting to witness this astrology firsthand in a lot of different ways, with a lot of different experiences, and in different parts of the world, not just here, not just at home, but in different parts of the world. So it'll be interesting to do a talk on these alignments, and I should get that done in the next several days. So I just want everyone to know that we are headed for an intense time. Take a breath, remember to breathe, and remember to, this too shall pass. When you've had enough of the rhetoric, take a break. But do check in with yourself on a deeper level and say, you know, why is this or that causing a reaction in me? Because we don't react to things we don't care about. So, you know, most of us care about this, something here or something there. If something prompts or triggers you into an emotional reaction, it's a good idea to ask yourself why. What do I believe that is causing that reaction to happen? Or what do I think is going to happen if this goes where I think it'll go? And why do I think that? Most fear has nothing to do with what will actually happen, but it's based in a belief or something that a loss. People feel loss. They fear abandonment. They fear not being accepted. They fear all kinds of things. And so ask yourself, if you're being triggered by something, what is it that you are afraid of losing? Who are you afraid of abandoning you? And if you have something, a desire that you want to do, whose permission do you actually need to do that? I would, you know, say yours. And we're the last ones usually to give ourselves permission to do something that we think might upset someone else. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind about things. So, looking forward to talking with you again. I hope you have a good week. Do put some comments down in the comment section. I love getting those. I love responding to those. and watch in your own life and watch in the world around you for the alignments that we've discussed. And I will see you next time. Thank you.